Hello all. Making another informative video for you. As you may have already seen if you've been to my channel and poked through some of my content, is basically many of my videos are the same. I'm not super technical. Maybe at some point in time I will add a little more spice to the video, but as of now, I like to just share little tidbits of information that I've collected on my own to share with others who are interested in just kind of, getting a little taste of what's out there, because it's pretty overwhelming, and I try to simplify things for those who are confused by the complicated issues. That said, today we will dive into autoimmunity. And again, I don't really push too hard on statistics and numbers and what have you. I vetted the things that I speak of, but a lot of what I share is anecdotal and the experiences that I have that I've been through, but also those close to me that I know that have been through. So I like sharing those as well. I feel, to me, those hit home harder than for me to sit here and spew stuff about clinical trials and doctors' reports and X, Y, and Z. I think we can all agree sometimes that's a bit heavy. So let's just briefly step into it. I'm going to make a couple different videos related to this issue. This one is going to just be a soft introduction. So autoimmunity. Well, we need to start with immunity, right? And immunity is simply our body's defense against invaders, whatever those might be. So therefore, autoimmunity is the body's response to itself, thinking that its own self, the body, is the invader. It's been pretty alarming. The rates of autoimmunity have skyrocketed over the past 30 years, but they have even more so in the past few. Most of those who you will run into that are chronically ill with an autoimmune condition, many of them have multiple. Those who are suffering suffer in many different ways, and there is not one conclusive identifying factor to say that X, Y, and Z is going to have X, Y, and Z condition. Now, how do people get an autoimmune condition? Like any other thing, genetics plays a piece. Genetics can play a piece in other chronic illnesses like heart disease and any other genetic defects. A thing that you'll hear when it comes to genetics, a favorite author of mine, Dr. Ben Lynch, he wrote a book called Dirty Genes. And you'll hear this word a lot when it's talked about in relation to genetic disorders. SNPs, the acronym is SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism. It's a good word for just saying that your gene is kind of off. It has the potential to be the precursor for many different chronic illnesses, including autoimmune conditions. I think of last check, there was well over 100 different autoimmune conditions. Some of the ones that you'll hear probably more often than others are a lot of the ones that are IBD related, IBS related. So bowel disorders, bowel syndrome, like Crohn's, celiac, things like that you will hear predominant out there. Those are the celiac more so. Celiac is the one that is related to a gluten sensitivity. And then others, a lot of the arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus. There are many, many, many different cases out there. And I think many people that you will encounter had no idea that any of these even existed and then they get this really heavy diagnosis of having this lifelong condition, right? It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to swallow. It's a hard thing to endure, and especially when others, friends, family don't understand. Because as many people that do have them, there's still a good subset of people that don't and are unaware of even what these autoimmune conditions are. So I think first and foremost, this video is to help create awareness for those that don't understand, that don't know, and have some compassion and some sympathy for those who are enduring this really, really difficult time. It's a life-altering situation that requires a lot of changes, and it's for those who are stepping into this space to understand that you're not alone, that we see you, that we hear you. We, the collective of who, those of us like myself that have a better understanding of what you are going through based on A, knowing people that are going through what you're going through, and B, just being immersed in the literature, understanding what it is that you are undertaking. So, we talk genetics. Genetics there's a thing in the functional health space. We talk about genetics in a sense of, well, genetics, yeah, I hate using a gun reference, but this is the analogy that's used quite often. Genetics is the gun, but lifestyle loads the gun and pulls the trigger. And that's what we've seen over the past 30 years. We've seen this upswing because our world, our Western society over here in the West, the US, our neighbors across the pond, an epidemic of a rise in obesity, environmental toxins, etc. So those are the things that we will talk about in the next video. Those are the things that we can be aware of and have an understanding. And, work towards trying to manage these conditions. So, in conclusion here today, remember, immunity helps us fight off those invaders. Autoimmunity sees our own body as the invader. So, how do you fight that, right? Well, there's got to be some signaling going on that we can try to help to support quieting that signaling. And that's the book I was referring to by Dr. Ben Lynch, Dirty Genes. His whole entire book is related to basically quieting and turning off what he calls, turning on and turning off those genes. So let's have a conversation. This is just the starting point. This is for those of you who are maybe beginning your journey, stumbling on my channel. Maybe we're working together. So hopefully we can work on this together and have a conversation together and understand that you're not alone. That's the biggest thing I want you to understand. You're not alone, and you do have options. There are things you can do to help support yourself during this time. So if you walk away with anything, just remember that there is support. You're not alone. People do understand. People are thinking about you. People do care about you. So that it will be the end of this video. There'll be another to come in this series. One will be related to steps you can take to uncover ways to support yourself during this time. And sharing a final note, the reason that I'm bringing this up even more so is I just recently had a little scare with borderline autoimmune thyroid. And those of you who may or may not know my story, I was heavy into drinking for 25 years, poor food choices. 6 years removed, I immersed myself in health, and ironically enough, the health movement that I pushed myself into almost depleted me to a point that pushed my thyroid to a point of low thyroid, autoimmune thyroid. And I'm on the other side of it now. So there is hope for you all. I want to share that. Be good to yourselves. Take care. Know you're not alone. And know that you're loved. Be good. Take care. Until next time.